name is Jeff Filbert. Thank you for the invitation to read. Hope you enjoy some of these. The first poem is called The Renaissance. I'm beginning to love those yellow plates behind their heads. In a painting by Fra Angelico, the halos even follow the heads that have been severed to a pile on the ground. And all painted with the joyful pastel colors of a child. By the time we get to the mysticism and passion of Tintoretto, we are the drunken men of the New World. Birthmark. I was born in the year of the horse, in the month of the horse, so it is easy for me to run across a great field. But make no mistake, when I get to the other side, or where I feel I'm supposed to be, my four legs can stand as still as the corners of a temple. Listening. Listening to opera always transforms the studio into a disheveled hotel suite along the Italian coast, circa 1930. Its large windows facing the sea, the breeze secretly fox-trotting with the curtain behind the back of the old man there, his mustache like a clump of grass, listening to a scratchy La Boheme after a day's work in eternal light. I'm not sure how much I like opera or how much I just like being in that room with the ghost cloud of my grandfather singing with his hands. Posthumously written poem. How I love sitting in the studio at dusk, all that fall, the days drawing in, watching the sun fade like a coal. Then the studio turning a beautiful gray, calms any bodhisattva, smiling at me as if to say, be still. Gradually street lights would lumber in with blunt rectangles of light, shining across paint cans and junk stuff to cast silhouettes of animal faces across blank canvas. Every day a new darkness gathered under tables, building black velvet cities. I could not move. The world was trying to tell me something I could only hear at dusk, that now I know by heart. The moon at sunset. The moon has a language you can only understand if you're in love with the moon. The soft gray-blue clouds and yellow Claude Lorraine sunset, translating the seen to the unseen. But even the sky has its limitations. The falconer's falcon knows its widest circumference before heading back to arm and hood. Once upon a time, someone was given 90 years to live. It almost seemed enough to untie the million knots from birth to love's benediction. It almost seemed enough to try to paint the blood of time on all fours crawling to the door. It almost seemed enough to turn the whole body into a calm fare thee well. Okay, House of the Cornfield. So young it seemed there was still room for enchantment in the neighborhood. Not every scrap of land was built on. There were frogs and tadpoles to catch in creeks even if they ran parallel to the new highway that gave us tall embankments to slide down on cardboard sleds. In front of the house, the road was not so busy that you could play touch football for a long time before calling car. There were long bike rides through parks with friends or solitary rides bumping over tree trunks exposed by erosion. A quieter time than now, but not as quiet as the previous generation. That's the world growing up alongside us. I don't remember stars so much. We had fireflies in the backyard instead, seeming just as numerous. The first time I really saw the sky was on a camping trip to Assateague Island. You could see the Milky Way lighting up, a cosmic path my eyes just kept rolling and rolling down to somewhere in the future. I thought, way back then, at the turn of the century I will be 45. It never occurred to me that there will be 18 years after the turn of the century. Now, here I am. The news. I accept it. I am part of the disgrace my fingertips turn up everywhere. On TV, refugees are on the move again, wheelbarrows filled with their grandmother's chairs, so by the road next to a broken wall they can sit. To redeem myself, I must be like an orchestra that, out of respect, sits a very long time without playing. Ask. 3 things that get heavy fast. Dirt, steel, and water. Ask my back. Okay, how are we doing on time? Okay, sorrow. Sorrow is everywhere, so what? Try to find what is not sorrow. Sparrows fly through the O's of sorrow. The incarcerated press between bars on skinny canoes of the imagination. Clocks tick joy and talk sorrow, and the day goes on riding its bicycles in the rain. I am Houdini, handcuffed to my sorrow and thrown into the East River. Okay. Roots. Roots hold on through the dark corridors of ground to the roots of other trees. You can't see it, but you know it. Or you have seen it, exposed by erosion along a riverbank. Like that, one person is tied to another too, by our demeanor, our generosity, our acts towards each other. But when you see a tree alone in the middle of a field, you know there are people like that too. I'll read this one. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, and always doesn't matter. The sky says it doesn't matter, but I want to know what doesn't matter. The ocean waves crash saying it doesn't matter, shaping the shoreline in long stretched out letter S's. And I yell, it matters, or it seems to matter, or I'm afraid if it doesn't matter, whatever it is we're talking about. Okay, 3. You being H3 is still there inside you, like the third ring within a tree trunk is still there as it grows yearly outward. The center is 0, the outermost ring makes a 0. All between is hoopla and ooh la la and abracadabra. Not bad. Thank you.